What's up, everybody? It's Steven from Shoot GTR, back again to talk about a few different topics. Well, one specific topic, but a few different products that I would like to introduce. Today is about carbine accessories. When I talk about a carbine, I'm talking about your normal AR-15, AK-47 style platforms. But what I really want to talk about the most is, what do you need? What is really, when somebody comes into the pro shop and they want to know, what do I need for my rifle? Maybe you just bought a gun, or maybe you've had a gun that you kind of want to build out, finish out, and accessorize to the point that makes it a little bit better, more comfortable. Those are the things that I kind of want to talk about. I can give you several. Charging handle is going to be one of the most important things because you do actuate that and manipulation of the rifle. BCM makes a really, really good one. I personally run the forward controls. In changing the charging handle and the significance, it's going to be very, very generic. It's not going to have many features. It's probably not going to be ambidextrous, so being able to manipulate it with both fingers if necessary, or if you're a left-handed shooter, maybe you need an ambidextrous one so that you don't have to put both fingers over to the side to manipulate the charging handle. You can actually rack it from one end. That is advantageous. The overall quality of the charging handle is significant because I've seen plenty of them break. Matter of fact, there was just a couple days ago where a guy came in with a relatively inexpensive build and it had a generic charging handle. So we obviously offered an upgrade. And what happened was that the charging handle had broken just from normal usage. And that is a factor. That is something that you also want to take into account, is what's the longevity of the charging handle and the components that you're using. So charging handle would definitely be one of the top. It's not necessarily the most important. When we talk about comfort, I'm always going to tell you, if your gun came with an mil-spec stock, I would definitely recommend any of the Magpul products. Magpul makes great stocks. As you can tell, I'm running Magpul stocks on all of my rifles. I've also run BCM, I've run B5s, I've run pretty much all of them. The cool thing about a lot of these accessories, and as I go into them, you'll see once you go and check them out, that they're not super expensive. It can get expensive. Stocks are very important because that is another point of contact on the gun when you're shooting, because you're driving it into a part of your body. So maybe a good stock if your gun didn't come with a good stock to begin with. In relevance to the comfortability of a gun, we talk about this significantly when we talk about pistols. When you're running a pistol and a holster, if you don't have a good comfortable holster, you don't have a good comfortable setup, you're probably not going to carry the gun. If you're not comfortable in shooting the gun because it doesn't feel good when you're shooting, you're probably not going to shoot the gun. So the same thing could be said here. If you want to continuously shoot your rifle, you want something that's going to be comfortable. So that's where definitely the stocks come into play. Something else that kind of expounds on that is your pistol grips. Okay? I do run BCM pistol grips. I have run a myriad of pistol grips over the time that I've been shooting. And the benefit to a lot of your pistol grips, and even the foregrips we're going to talk about, are they're only about $20, $25 max for most of them. You can find more expensive ones, obviously, and feel free to check those out as well. But do your due diligence in actually buying a few, trying them out, run them for a little bit, take a class, really give them the go and see if it's actually going to be comfortable. Die-Free-Co is one of the other great companies that I actually most recently transitioned back from. And I say back because I used to run BCM before, but I went to the Die-Free-Co, and a consideration that I found important was I don't have super large hands, long fingers, so when I was going to manipulate the safety as I brought the gun up, I noticed that it was a little bit harder for me to get to the safety and actuate it as I wanted to. The reason why that happened is the profile in the back here, the back strap of the grip here, it was a little bit thicker. So you'll see that in a lot of your Magpuls and some of the other grips out there. BCM did a very good job about reducing that so that you could actually get a little bit higher purchase on the gun, so it made it a little bit easier for me to manipulate that safety. So these are things that I want you to kind of pay attention to and look at when you're actually assessing these accessories. Another part of comfortability here, foregrips. There's a lot of talk nowadays online about foregrips. They're useless, you don't need them, they cause barrel sway, all kinds of things out there. And what I will say is, do the testing on your own. I personally like to run foregrips. There are certain circumstances where I can understand a foregrip may not be as advantageous, but you have to understand what the purpose of your build is. Practicality, that's always going to be something that you're going to hear. If you ask me in the shop, I'm like, well, what's the practical usage of your gun? What are you going to use it for? What are you going to do with it? So that's something else to take into consideration. I'm not going to delve too far into the foregrips because there are so many of them. Again, they're only about 20 bucks. Try a few of them, see how you like them. Slings are very important. They're imperative to retaining the gun. It's not that you're just going to sling the gun and let it go hang and let it go do whatever it's going to do. You still want to maintain control over the gun. However, this does add benefit to to holding up the gun when you may need a free hand, and so that whenever you're wearing the gun itself, you have something else to brace it and hold it and take off some of that slack because it goes around your body. Now, bolt carrier groups. Bolt carrier groups are probably one of the more expensive accessories that I would tell you. And it's not necessarily an accessory, but when you buy it aftermarket from what you get factory, if it doesn't come with a really good one, it's just a basic mil-spec bolt carrier group. Your bolt carrier groups do play a very vital role in sometimes the gas system that you have. If you're running a suppressor, that may be something you want to consider. If you plan on suppressing it, I got a recommendation for a bootleg adjustable bolt carrier group when I was building out my first SBR. And I was asked, you ever plan on suppressing your gun? And at the time, I was like, yeah, I don't have the money to buy it right now. He's like, well, if you're buying a bolt carrier group, you might as well get one that's gonna kind of do all. And not to go too far into the bootleg, it is adjustable in the gas system. So instead of having or in conjunction with maybe an adjustable gas block, what it can do is mitigate some of those issues you may find running a mil-spec bolt carrier group with a suppressor. The blowback, the gas that comes back into the gun does come back through the bolt carrier group. That's how it cycles. And because of that, some of those cycling issues you may come in contact with can be mitigated or adjusted and fixed from the bolt carrier group. And one of the cool things about it is that the adjustments are right here on the outside of the bolt carrier, right in line with the ejection port, so you can do it field service, right? It's really super easy. So lastly, it's having a sighting system on your gun, period, is paramount. You absolutely have to have some source of sighting on your gun. People come in and ask, well, red dot or iron sights. My answer is I don't know. You have to find out whether or not it's worth it to you at the moment. Is the juice worth the squeeze for you to buy an optic? Have you already gotten behind the gun? Have you learned how to utilize the gun and the sights that it comes with before even worrying about an optic? There's a spectrum of pricing on those things. So obviously I'm going to recommend that anytime anybody that's already asked me, they know I'm never going to recommend something that's necessarily cheap. There are inexpensive optics out there, and I do want you to be aware of those differences and understanding why some of the optics are as expensive as they are. The thing is there's also a balance. There's an even balance there. While it may not be cheap, some of the less expensive optics, like your Aimpoint Duty RDS, is about half the price of your Aimpoint T2. The Aimpoint T2 I have found to be, for me and what I want to use a red dot for, the best quality overall. The Aimpoint Duty RDS it's more than sufficient, right? It does everything that you need it to do. It still has night vision capabilities as the T2 does, if that's applicable, and it's also about half the price. It comes with a standard height mount. It is a different profile from the base, so it's not going to be the same height if you add the same mount that you would for your T2s, your Romeo 5s, your you name it. It doesn't have the same flush mounting system at the bottom, so that is something you also want to consider. However, what it comes with out of the box, work with that and figure out if that works for you. And if you feel like you need an upgrade, you can always go up to an Aimpoint T2 or something else of that relevance. Either way, the bottom line, what I'm going to tell you is, as long as you have a sighting system, you have a way to retain the gun, and the gun is comfortable the way that it is, the most important thing is going to be buying ammo. Buying ammo and buying training, there's nothing else that is more important than that, because once you get more time behind the gun, you'll actually be able to learn what it is that you need to accessorize. With all those things being said, at the end of the day, feel free to come down to the shop, take a look at what we have, ask as many questions as you got, and we'll try to help guide you on your new build or accessorize the one that you already have.